Hello and welcome to the Curriculum Preview Grade 5 ELAR for the second 6 weeks. I'm Felicia Wilkerson, your ELAR and Social Studies Coordinator. I look forward to serving you this school year. For today's lesson, I will guide you through the heat map and IFD analysis. You will record your thoughts and your new learning. You will collaborate concerning the essential questions to ensure all students learn. And you will use the Content Builder and the PLC for the Reading PLC documents to plan for student success. Your learning targets for this curriculum preview are that you'll be able to use the IFD to target instruction for your students, that you understand and model how readers construct meaning through the reading process, and provide your students with purposeful practice of active reading skills. For the second 6 weeks, there will be 2 assessments, Unit 1C, Appreciating Drama, and Unit 2A, Appreciating Literary Nonfiction. You will begin Unit 2B, but it'll be continued in the third 6 weeks. Unit 1C, Assessment Blueprint. The instructional days are October 6th through October 14th. The assessment will be posted on October 10th, and the assessment should be administered by October 15th. For 2A, Appreciating Literary Nonfiction, there are 10 instructional days, October 16th through October 29th. The posting date is October 28th, and the assessment should be administered by October 30th. Unit 2B also has 10 instructional days. That is over supporting positions or persuasive text. The instructional days are October 31st through November 13th. The assessment posting date is November 12th, and the assessment should be administered during the third 6 weeks by November 14th. Also, for the curriculum preview, you'll need your Content Builder, your PLC for the Reading PLC document. Let's go ahead and review our heat map for Grade 5. We want to look wherever drama and literary nonfiction shows up on your heat map, so that we can locate our hotspot. We see that 5.7, when dual-coded with figure 19 for literary nonfiction, seems to be our hotspot, as well as 5.7 figure 19E and figure 19F. So we see that we have a definite area of concern where our process standards are concerned. Also, we see 5.2b, which is the vocabulary development, use context clues, which also is sort of like a process standard. Therefore, hotspot areas have been identified with the process standards, so we address these through the reading process. First, let's take a look at our knowledge and skill statement for literary nonfiction. As we deconstruct this standard, we see the cognitive levels of expectations, the content, which are structural patterns and features, and of course our context is literary nonfiction. Now let's pay particular attention to the specificity. This is what students will be able to do. More specifically, these are the types of inferences students will be required to make. Make inferences related to the whole literary nonfiction text, part of the text, related to the structure of literary nonfiction, related to features of literary nonfiction, and be able to summarize literary nonfiction in ways that maintain meaning and order. And they need to respond to literary nonfiction and provide evidence from the text to support their understanding. Now for the vocabulary development SE 5.2. So whenever we're reading our standards, we read the knowledge and skill statement and the SE together. The knowledge and skills says students understand new vocabulary and use it when reading and writing. So our SE, that's our hotspot, says use context to determine or clarify the meaning of unfamiliar or multiple meaning words. So very clearly we can see that we need students actively reading so they're both understanding and being able to draw from clues of the surrounding text. This is how we target our instruction. These are the types of context clues. Now this is including but not limited to the types of context clues that we're to teach. Identify and use relationships among surrounding words, phrases, and sentences. Use in-sentence examples, so examples being a type of context clue. Use definition in the sentence, so definition is a type of context clue. And use in-sentence restatement, where restatement is a type of context clue. Question 1 is, what do we want our students to learn? Well, after studying the standards, we know that we want our students to use a range of comprehension strategies to make complex inferences about the structure and elements of literary nonfiction and drama. They're going to use context to determine unknown words. So how will they learn it? They're going to learn it by being active readers, by constructing meaning while they read. Pause and ponder at this time to answer these two questions. How will you provide explicit instruction in the reading process? And how will you allow students to practice and show progress? Please pause the video to discuss at this time. Reading comprehension is addressed through Figure 19 comprehension skills. Comprehension of literary and informational text should be taught through the reading process. It is the process of reading that is most transferable to new text. Figure 19, A through F, encompasses the reading process. Comprehension is a process that teachers can model for students through an effective lesson frame. The reading process occurs before, during, and after reading. That's Figure 19. Take a moment to pause and ponder with your team. Read the questions on the teaching process portion, the preparation, the assistance, and the reflection. Think about how this currently looks in your class and areas for improvement. Pause the video at this time to discuss with your team. Now let's review our content builder. We want to start with what we want our students to learn. So we want them to be able to understand and make complex inferences about the varied structural patterns and features of literary nonfiction and respond by providing text to support their understanding. So how will students be able to access this learning? They're going to access this learning if they're active readers. So we'll put Figure 19A, B, C, and our use context to determine the meaning of unknown words, because if they can't understand the words that they're reading, it's highly unlikely that they're going to understand the text. 5.7a could be a scaffold in this learning process where students must first be able to identify the literary language and the literary devices used in biographies and autobiographies, including how authors present major events in a person's life. Students can demonstrate their learning when they're able to make these complex inferences about text and respond using text evidence, when they're able to summarize information, and when they're able to make connections between and across multiple texts. This requires writing and discussion of seed and essential questions in the classroom daily. Understanding the reading process is very important for us as teachers. Reading is a complex, multifaceted process that begins and ends with meaning. It's when the reader draws on both thinking and language strategies inside and outside the text to process text with understanding. And it occurs before, during, and after reading. Now, we're all familiar of the characteristics of an effective reader. So we can make good readers read even better, and we certainly know that we can use these same models of an effective reader to provide explicit instruction to our students who are not proficient at reading as of yet. We teach readers to construct meaning through the reading process explicitly through modeling and think alouds, supportively with practice and immediate corrective and descriptive feedback, actively by engaging students in reading, writing, discussing, thinking every day, by using graphic organizers to represent concepts and understanding, thoughtfully with the application of a variety of assessments that inform our instructional choices, that includes a variety of questioning, and systematically with gradual release of responsibility. Question number 2 asks, how will we know students learn? When we are able to gather evidence that shows students are able to monitor or check on their own reading, search for specific information in text, and correct their own reading. Pause and ponder at this time about what learning activities would allow you to gather evidence of learning. The levels of thinking that are required in reading vary. Thinking while reading, where we're checking for our own understanding of what the text says, we're thinking within the text, we're recognizing literary devices and structures. However, thinking about our reading makes us conscious of our own connections, our own questions, and our own responses to what we read. It's deeper reading, where we're able to apply specific strategies depending on what we're reading, where we're actively thinking about our thinking, and where we're consciously examining and monitoring our own brain's processes. One instructional approach to developing reading comprehension is to help readers think about their reading strategies while they read. So once we know what our learning targets are and have defined how we will assess them, we're able to think clearly about what combination of instruction and learning experiences will prepare students both to know and to demonstrate their learning, where all instruction and classroom activities are aimed at specified learning targets. How will we know students learn? We must design and choose assessments that serve and match the intended learning targets. They must align with our standards. We must use various assessment methods and write and ask questions of all types to allow for students' open-ended responses. Now let's visit our PLC for the Reading PLC document. In this unit, we'll be in literary nonfiction and drama. We're going to use all levels of thinking throughout Unit 2. Any of these on this PLC document are great evidences for learning as we're reading drama and literary nonfiction. Of course, our instructional strategies we want to read, write, and discuss every day through the gradual release process, and you could use other strategies as shown. So the first strategy I want to share with you today are strategies for framing the text. This is figure 19A. This is what we do to set a purpose for reading. We can use anticipation guides, theme spotlights. We could use a focus point. They could use a KWLR chart where the R stands for research. So at the end, when they have questions about what they've learned for further research, then they can have developed a research question at the end. Role play, bringing in realia, that is an authentic artifact to the class. Another strategy I'd like to share with you is called color coding comprehension. It's where you give students two different color highlighters, say pink and yellow. Students read the text independently and they highlight every single word in the text. They highlight yellow for words, phrases, sentences, or entire passages that they understand. And they use the pink highlighter for everything they do not understand. And this allows students to pinpoint exactly where their comprehension breaks down. Here's an example of the color coding strategy. The benefits of color coding comprehension is that it provides the reader with a focus. It motivates the reader to concentrate in order to come up with as few pink highlighted passages as possible. It shows the reader where to slow his or her pace. It alerts the reader to the importance of context in trying to make meaning. It encourages the reader to revise his or her comprehension while reading. And if you are reading out of a textbook, you can use the same strategy using sticky notes. That way they won't have the highlighter, but they'll still read closely and they'll write those words or passages down that they do not understand. Question number 3, what do we do if students don't learn? We need to learn what students can do and build on their strengths. We need to figure out where they are in order to move them forward. Also, we need to teach students to use effective strategies in their reading and writing. This is the purpose of small group reading instruction, because we're able to explicitly model at the child's pace the specific strategies that they need to replace their ineffective strategies. Pause and ponder to discuss these guiding principles of support with your team. Which supports can you try? Question number 4 is, how will we enrich those who do learn? We enrich those who do learn through differentiation. We can differentiate the content, that is, adapting what we teach. We can differentiate the process, that is, the sense-making activity, or we can differentiate the products. These help students individually or in groups rethink, use, and extend what they have learned. Products are important not only because they represent your students' extensive understandings and applications, but also because they are the element of curriculum that students can most directly own. I appreciate you so much joining me for today's PLC curriculum preview. Whenever you plan on implementing one of the strategies I share with you today, please contact me, as I would love to see classroom implementation. Or if you need more information about the strategy or support from me, please don't hesitate to ask. Also, please remember to turn in your PLC for the Reading PLC document to your campus designee. I'm Felicia Wilkerson, and until next time, goodbye.